Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Fukenjani Krekwas Manave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. It is the 1st of March and you are joined by Ashwin Bedi and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glen?
I'm doing very well. I'm seeing you looking very nice.
As are you, as always.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
I couldn't make it yesterday to the awards, to the NTV Awards, but I hear such good stuff.
They were incredible. The interview awards were fantastic. Those awards you certainly would be a part of as well, which was Talk Show, which went to Smell the Coffee, which I know you're also a part of. Diana got the NTV Presenters, Viewers' Choice Presenter award for the evening, which is the biggest award for the evening. We're certainly proud of Diana Master, who's also on AGM, so we
that's amazing. That's really amazing.
Yes,
meaning that your vote counts, guys.
Absolutely.
Your votes counts, and the fact that we all voted, and to see how it plays out. I'm so excited.
The first inaugural NTV Awards, and the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Honorable Emma Theophilus, was the guest of honor, and she gave a stirring speech, and it was a wonderful evening.
No, I'm so happy to hear that.
Right.
Well, we'll be right back with your top stories.
On behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, I extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the former First Lady, Madam Munega Kaingos, the bereaved family, the relatives, friends, and the entire Namibian nation on the sudden passing of our beloved President, His Excellency Dr. Hage Gottfried Geingob. His leadership, resilience, and firm belief in systems, institutions, and processes will forever be kept and cherished in our hearts, as well as his belief in unity, inclusivity, and equality. I, on behalf of the National Road Safety Council and all stakeholders in the road safety subsector, join the rest of the nation in mourning the passing of our distinguished leader. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
We start off on a rather sad note as Chad's opposition leader is killed in a shootout. Yaya Dillo's death comes after the government blamed him for a deadly attack on the country's security agency. He denied the accusation. On Wednesday, heavy gunfire was heard near his party's headquarters in the capital, N'Djamena. Dillo was also a cousin of President Deby, who has been in power since 2021. Deby was named by the army to succeed his father, who was killed by rebels after 3 decades in power. The unrest in the Central African country follows the announcement that the presidential election will be held on the 6th of May. These elections are intended to return the country to constitutional rule. Now, before his death, Dillo was widely predicted to be his cousin's main opponent in the election. He was the leader of the Socialist Party Without Borders. Communications Minister Abdelmaman Kaula Mala told the AFP news agency that Dillo had died on Wednesday, where he had retreated at the headquarters of his party. He didn't want to surrender and fired on law enforcement. The authorities said 12 others also died in the shootout.
Getting into our next story, in a high-profile case, the state has declared its intention to oppose bail for the 7 men accused of murdering renowned rapper Kiernan, aka Forbes, and his friend Tebelo Tips Motswane, reports News 24. AKA and Motswane were fatally shot outside the now defunct Wish on Florida restaurant in Durban on February the 10th, 2023. 5 of the accused, including Lindokule Tabani Makwanazi, Lindani Dimande, Sianda Mieza, and Mwezitemba Mieza and Lindokule Dimande, face charges ranging from conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, to the unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. Senior State Advocate Laurent Kaba disclosed that the other 2 suspects were apprehended in Eswatini and they were extradited to South Africa. Now, the accused have been charged with a Schedule 6 offense, which means that the onus is on the accused to prove that there are exceptional circumstances that warrant their release on bail. AKA's father, Tony Forbes, Police Minister Bekisele, and KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mwakanazi were in the packed courtroom. Now, Forbes expressed his disappointment at the court's initial decision to allow the 5 men accused of his son's murder to wear masks, shielding their faces from the public. Following his vocal dissatisfaction, the court reconsidered, ruling that no security concerns were justifying the concealment and subsequently ordered the suspects to reveal their faces. The case has been postponed to Wednesday, 6th of March for further investigations.
Now, Senegal's President Macky Sall has proposed a general amnesty bill for political protesters arrested since 2021 as he holds talks to end fresh turmoil over delayed elections. The West African nation is facing its worst political crisis in decades after Sall abruptly deferred the February 25 presidential vote just hours before campaigning was due to begin. The Constitutional Council overturned the delay, and Sall, whose second term is scheduled to end on the 2nd of April, launched 2 days of talks to set a new poll date. He announced the amnesty bill at the start of what he called a national dialogue on Monday, suggesting it could reunite the country. According to some rights groups, over 1,000 people have been arrested since 2021 during the power struggle between opposition leader Ousmane Sonko and the state.
Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi cannot be sued in Britain over allegations he accepted unlawful payments as part of Mozambique's litigation over the decade-long tuna bond scandal, London's Court of Appeal ruled on Thursday. Emirati Lebanese shipbuilder Privinvest wanted to drag Nyusi into a $3.1 billion lawsuit brought by Mozambique, which accuses it of paying bribes to officials and Credit Suisse bankers. London's High Court has yet to rule on the case following a trial last year. Mozambique settled with Credit Suisse's new owner UBS on the eve of the trial in October. Shortly before last year's trial began, the High Court ruled that Nyusi had not been properly served with Privinvest lawsuit and that he was entitled to immunity as a head of state. Privinvest had wanted to sue Nyusi for allegedly accepting $11 million in unlawful campaign payments from Privinvest, which says the payments were lawful. The company says that if the court finds the payments unlawful, Nyusi should contribute to any damages it may be ordered to pay. But the Court of Appeal ruled on Thursday that Nyusi was not properly served with the case. Judge Julian Flux also said in a written ruling that Nyusi has immunity from the jurisdiction of the English courts while he is the head of state of Mozambique.
Now in Nigeria, the Minister of Transport, Saeed Al-Kali, has urged other states to emulate Lagos, saying the success of its Red Line rail project exemplified collaboration between federal and state governments. The news agency of Nigeria reports that Al-Kali said collaborative efforts between the federal and state governments enhance the well-being of the nation and its economy. At the official commissioning of the Lagos Rail Mass Transit Red Line on Thursday by President Bola Tinubu, the minister also pledged the support of the ministry to the Lagos state government. He added that the ministry would work together with some state governors to achieve railway connection to enable choice of transportation for passengers, urging the governors to emulate Lagos.
Getting into the last of our top stories, governing Malawi Congress Party National Executive Committee on Wednesday endorsed President Lazarus Chakwera as the party's presidential candidate in the September 16, 2025 presidential election. Chakwera, who is the party's leader, attended and chaired the NEC meeting at MPC headquarters in Lilongwe. At the meeting, delegates discussed the party's readiness for its convention, which is slated for August this year. Party Secretary General Eisenhower Mkaka said the meeting agreed to have Chakwera reappear on the ballot in 2025, considering development initiatives he has implemented since he was elected as state president in the June 23, 2020 court-ordered presidential election.
All right, those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we talk to Mike Sichula in Zambia.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraitha. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour,
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news both on the WTA for women's and
All right, it's time for us to talk to Mike Sichula in Zambia as he brings us the top stories from there. Good morning, Mike.
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, and Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. Now, authorities and civil society groups have condemned former President Edgar Lungu over some remarks he made with regard to the president. Could you please let us know more?
Oh yeah, so the story began on Wednesday this week when police fired tear gas to disperse PF faction members who had gathered at Kawata police station where Raphael Nakachinda was detained. So President Lungu was also expected to be there. So after and speaking after the incident, former president said Zambians may be forced to rise against government because of the behavior of the police. Mr. Lungu, who was amongst the PF faction members, throgged the police station, said the behavior of the police will lead to President Hakainde Hichilema giving up power before 2026. So this is the statement that has attracted condemnation from both government and some civil society organizations who are saying a former president like Mr. Lungu should not be uttering such words because they believe he is inciting people to rise against an elected government of President Hakainde Hichilema. So police have issued a statement saying that they are investigating this matter to see whether President Lungu must be called for investigations where a warn and caution may be issued. Then also information that we are gathering is that police are considering placing Mr. Lungu under house arrest. So basically, this is coming after Mr. Lungu announced his return to active politics. So he has been issuing statements that have been attracting public condemnation as well as government reaction. For this particular one, Information Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana says such statements must never come from a person who once held the highest office in the land. Mr. Kawana said people instigating unruly behavior are those that the former head of state is associating with. So we are yet to see whether police are going to summon Mr. Lungu to police to question him on what he meant when he said that the people of Zambia will rise or President Hakainde Hichilema will give power before 2026.
It's very interesting, Mike, because Mr. Lungu said that because of the police, the people will rise against the president. Wasn't there an issue with his, were they called cadres or cadets when he was in power?
Well, so Zambians are comparing the conduct of the police during his reign and the conduct of the police under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. What happened during the reign of President Lungu was that the political cadres became unruly, such that one of the incidences that shocked the nation was where some cadres went to a police station, beat up police officers, and they almost like went away and they ran amok at the police station. That was just one of them. However, during the same period, also UPND cadres, whenever Mr. Hichilema was summoned to police, they would always crowd at police stations. So the difference is not there. And also the conduct of the police has not been different from how it was under the PF administration.
All right, now moving on to your next story. What are some of the key highlights of yesterday's presidential address on the effect of the El Nino phenomenon on agriculture?
Yeah, so yesterday President Hichilema declared the prolonged dry spell as a national disaster, something that needs urgent attention. So some of the highlights are that out of 116 districts, 84 have been affected by the dry spell. These include the capital city, Lusaka, central, southern, Copperbelt, western, and some of the northern western part of Zambia. Then out of the its estimated 2.2 million tons of planted land, approximately 1 million hectares have been destroyed by the dry spell, and the drought is projected to continue during this period. Then also over 1 million farming households will be affected by the dry spell. Then also the energy sector is expected to record a deficit of about 450 megawatts of power, which may extend to 500 megawatts of power, negatively impacting the country's economy because the mining firms and the agriculture sector, as well as the manufacturing sector, will be affected. So the short-term plans that the government of the President Hichilema have put in place is to channel resources towards humanitarian relief, food to ensure that the affected citizens do not go hungry. Then government will focus on importing and rationing of power. Then also the use of alternative energy will be promoted. Government will also come up with laws that punish individuals disregarding the environmental impact, such as bush burning. Then long-term measures, government wants to enhance on water harvest investment. Then also they want to accelerate the development of alternative sources of energy. So these are some of the measures that were key when President Hichilema addressed the nation yesterday.
All right, Mike. So we're running a little out of time. So as briefly and truly as briefly as possible, let us know what health authorities, their target is with regards to curbing the spread of malaria and the latest on the Copper Queens.
Okay, so Zambia recorded over 11 million malaria cases in 2023 as compared to 8.1 million in 2022. So this is according to the National Malaria Center, and because the malaria cases are increasing, they plan to spray over 920 households this year. That is on how they want to contain malaria. Then in sports, the Copper Queens came from behind to draw 3-3 with Ghana at Ndola's Levi Mwanawasa Stadium to enable them. The 3-3 enabled Zambia to win 4-3 on aggregate, and they're going to meet Morocco in the last round of the Olympic qualifying matches. So Zambia will host Morocco on 1st April and also travel to Morocco on 9th April to see if Zambia can record a back-to-back qualifications to the Olympics.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories from Zambia.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. Do have a lovely weekend.
We're going to swing over to our weather before we return with your economic news.
All right, let's have a look at the economic indicators just before we swing over to Ari for the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer first, it's FA Cup action, and it was Manchester City that beat Luton by 6-2. That goal was played at Luton, a great win for Manchester City, and the big performer in that game for Manchester City was their Norwegian striker, it's Erling Haaland, and Erling Haaland scored 5 goals, incredible performance by Erling Haaland, and it was briefly 3-2. That was Luton that came closer to Manchester City at one stage, but then it was Manchester City that pulled away to book their place in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. And it is Haaland that now scored 27 goals in all competitions this year so far, and it is Manchester City that try and emulate their season last year when they won the treble, and the treble comprises of the English Premier League title, also the FA Cup, and also the Champions League. Difficult to do, only been done twice before, but they're in line to do it again. The only setback for Manchester City was Jack Grealish. He's the England winger, so he was injured in the first half, so that is a concern for Pep Guardiola, the coach of Manchester City. Other 2 games that was played in the FA Cup 5th round, these teams also through to the quarterfinals, the last 8, and it's Newcastle that beat Blackburn. They beat them on penalties 4-3, and it was Leicester City that won away at home from home at Bournemouth, and it was a goal in extra time in the 105th minute. It was Abdul Fatawu that scored the winner for Leicester City. On to tennis, and it is the Dubai Tennis Championship for men that's continuing. Round of 32 games that was played. It's number 1 seed Daniil Medvedev, too strong for Alexander Shevchenko, and he beat him 7-6-3 and 7-5. And also there were 2 Frenchmen playing in the round of 32. That was Hugo Humbert that beat Gael Monfils, and the score there was 4-6, 6-3 and 6-3. The number 1 seed is Daniil Medvedev. Number 2 seed in the tournament is Andrei Rublev of Russia. And then number 3 seed is Hubert Hurkacz, and he is from Poland. Closing off today's international sports news with rugby news, it is French rugby that is under pressure. That was after a bad performance by the French national men's side when they played Six Nations game against Italy. That was at Lille. That was a home game for them, and they drew the game 13-all, almost lost the game. Last penalty from Italy against the upright, and it was 13-all in the end. But it's France rugby that indicated that the coach, that is Fabien Galtier, his position is not in danger at the moment. There were speculation that his position is under pressure after also losing to Ireland earlier on, and it is French rugby that said that they're looking forward in 2 weeks' time when they play against Wales. That game will be on Sunday the 10th of March. That will be played in Cardiff. That's the next game for France when they play against Wales, and Wales don't have a good season as well. They've lost all 3 their games in the Six Nations so far. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning on Friday, the 1st of March. Do enjoy your weekend from Glenora Shipura and Ashwin Berry. Swera Jaganaka.